It's Tuesday, March 12th, 2019. I'm going to start this video out by saying this. These markets are fake. Dow Jones closes today, closed a few hours ago, down 96 points. I want to go back to yesterday when we received this bad news of the Boeing plane crashes. The market was down 242 points, yet surged to close 200 points in the green, even with the bad news of Boeing. Today, we're down 96 points. Boeing's down a little over 6%. These markets are completely unfazed. I would have to think, and please comment down below, if this was a real market, if this was a free market, do you think we would only be down 96 points today? Would we have actually been up 200 points yesterday? Take into consideration all the negative news that is taking place throughout the world. Would we really be up 200 points yesterday? Would we only be down 96 points today? If you talk to countries like Russia and China, countries that are preparing because they know exactly what's going on, they're not being hoodwinked. They see the game, they see the agenda. And this is why countries like Russia and China and so many are stockpiling precious metals. We look at China. They just added in the month of February, they're 3 months in a row now, they've just been accelerating their gold purchasing. They added another 60 million ounces of gold in February. Russia last year added 274 tons of gold for 2018. What do you think they know that most people in America don't know? All of these countries, Russia, China, multiple countries across the world are getting rid of greenbacks. They're looking at other options. They're looking at other assets. And some of the most important assets are precious metals. And that's why so many countries are flocking to precious metals, because I truly believe they know that the dollar is on borrowed time. They know that the American economy is on borrowed time. They know that these asset bubbles are going to pop at some point. They know that the US dollar is going to be under immense pressure. And these are just a couple reasons why countries throughout the world are dumping greenbacks and buying hard assets like gold and silver. I want to talk a little bit about the 60 Minutes interview with Jerome Powell that took place on Sunday night. And this should tell us a few things also of why what we're witnessing is a complete illusion. He said that the economy is in a good place and the outlook is a favorable one. Now, if you're watching this, do you really think the economy is in a good place? And how many people do you know would say that the outlook is favorable? If you're awake, you certainly would not say the economy is favorable. And if it is, why isn't Jerome Powell raising interest rates? I dare Jerome Powell to normalize rates, put these interest rates at 4 to 5%, normalize rates, and we'll see how favorable the outlook is. We'll see how good the economy is. Another question I would have for Jerome Powell is, how come we have over 9 million people delinquent on their car payments? How come we have over 5,000 retailers closing for 2019? We're only in March and we already have announcements of 5,000 retail stores closing for this year. Why do we have 95 million people here in America not in the workforce? Another interesting statement he made, he said that inflation was muted. That's an interesting word. I'm confused. Have you been to the grocery store? Have you been out to lunch? Have you been out to dinner? You know, you can't even go out to lunch for less than $10. You can go to McDonald's and it's going to cost you near $10 today to eat lunch. And yet Jerome Powell is saying that inflation has been muted. And we hear this all the time, that there is no inflation. Go to the store and go buy something and you tell me there's no inflation. He admitted at one point in the interview that not everybody in America is sharing in the prosperity that we're all experiencing. And when he talks about the people that are really prospering, he's talking about the people running hedge funds, they're running private equity firms, they're running the big banks, they're running big investment companies. You know, these chief executives, they're doing incredibly well. But when we look at most of America, the dumbed down America who's completely comatose, and you know who I'm talking about, these are the people that are getting bigger than a house. They're eating fast food 5 times a day. They're walking around Walmart 350 pounds plus in their pajamas, in their slippers. They're spending whatever little money they have buying more tattoos, watching more reality TV, pretending to be a reality TV star in their own little life. This is the dumbing down of America, and this is why the people at the very top, the 1%, the 0.00001%, are conquering America. So while your goal and aspiration is to be a reality TV star, and a lot of these people walk around like they are some reality TV star, it's mind-blowing. The people at the very top want you to keep doing this. They want you to keep being asleep. They want you to keep being dumbed down because it's making the takeover of America so easy. America is on a collision course with self-destruction. While people continue to accuse Donald Trump of Russian collusion, calling for his arrest, calling for his impeachment, calling even for his assassination, the people you should really be lashing out at are the politicians, the globalists, and the banksters who robbed you blind back in 2008, yet nobody says a word. These are the treasonous groups that took your homes, your 401ks, bailed out automakers with your tax dollars. They bailed out foreign banks and American banks with your tax dollars, and they rewarded these treasonous predators that did this to you. They rewarded these people with multi-million-dollar bonuses. No one went to jail, yet you say nothing about that. But we talk about Russian collusion and how Trump's combing his hair. So now today, you work 2 part-time jobs, you have no benefits, you live paycheck to paycheck, you have no money saved up, but boy, all that Russian collusion. You know, I think America better get its priorities straight. I think we need to stop worrying about things that didn't happen like Russian collusion, and we better start worrying about things that are going to happen. You know, Jerome Powell said it in that interview Sunday night that the outlook is good. And, you know, he's right. It's good unless you're poor or you're middle class. Then it's not so good. If you're one of these people in one of those brackets of poor or middle class, your worst mistake right now is being asleep. I think we need to really get our priorities straight. Stop worrying about Russian collusion that never happened and start worrying about what is coming to America and how it's going to affect every one of us. We are witnessing a global meltdown taking place across the globe right now. It is going to affect the United States of America, the biggest debtor nation of them all. Get your debts paid down. Try to hold as little debt as possible. We are going to witness the biggest wealth transfer the world has seen, and it is starting right now. And, you know, I had somebody comment about a day ago down below in the comments, and please comment also on this. Somebody commented to me saying that during the last recession that the banks didn't want the houses. They just wanted the debt. And that is a complete lie. They wanted the houses. In fact, they got sued for taking so many houses illegally. What the banks did was they sold bonds backed by the homes, by these mortgages that they were financing, though they didn't own them. So what they had to do in order to back up the bonds that they had sold is they had to go take the houses to back the bonds. And so we saw trillions of dollars in homes taken so that they could pay these bonds back. And this was completely illegal. They had to pay out $1 billion in fines because of this, but this was just a drop in a swimming pool because they had stole trillions of dollars. So they stole trillions of dollars of homes and only paid $1 billion in fines. If you think on the next wealth transfer, they're not coming for your home, your land, your cars, or anything they can get their hands on, you're sadly mistaken. This is why I say don't carry debt. And I know there's a lot of people out there, we all talk about the reset, but we don't know what the reset is going to be, what it's going to include, what it's going to entail. But what we do know is what happened in 2008. The people that were holding debt, especially lots of debt, they got hurt the worst. So I think if we can learn anything from the last recession, it is hold as little debt as possible. And also, what we learned is if you don't hold it, you don't own it. Your 401ks, money markets, etc., you could not get to them. They were frozen. And so what happens when we see the wealth transfer that we're going to see, the one that's going to make the last one look like child's play? It's going to dwarf it in comparison. This one will be 100 times more massive, and there will be no way out of it. If you are not holding assets and real money when this occurs, you're going to be in really, really bad shape. Take a page out of history. Make sure your debt is paid down. Keep it at a minimum. If you can pay it all off, pay it all off. Make sure you are acquiring hard assets, real money. Make sure you're holding this in safe locations that you can get to. Because as we've learned throughout history, throughout the world, when governments and economies collapse, paper money, fiat currencies go to zero, and banks close. And you see hyperinflation take place. I surely believe it is time to really start getting out of paper and get into hard assets, things you can hold, that you can touch, and that you can get to. The day of reckoning is coming to America, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't to scare people. This isn't to alarm people. It's to wake people up. But I'll tell you, if you're really awake to what's happening, you should be a little scared, because it's going to be a very, very frightful time here in America when it happens. And I think that if you're not preparing right now, you're going to be very, very late to a very disastrous party. If you are not preparing right now, you are only going to have yourself to blame. If I can close this video out and say one thing, please wake up, do your own due diligence, and see what's really happening. And ask yourself, do you think this is heading in the right direction? Or do you think it's heading in a direction that's going to be very, very dangerous for America? Do your due diligence. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to anybody. You got to do your own research, your own due diligence, and see it with your own two eyes. I'm just trying to get a message out. Please comment below what you think is coming to America, how you think it's all going to go down. Do you think America will survive? Will it be the same country? How will things change in America? Please comment below. I'd be very, very curious to see your thoughts on that. What will America look like after this next collapse?